Good morning, good morning. Sorry, computer's going kind of slow. Hello there. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. We were going to get started here shortly. Hello, hello, hello. I'm just letting my computer load real quick. It's taking a minute. So for those of you guys that are new coming onto this call, this is we talk about A Course in Miracles and how do we apply the teachings of A Course in Miracles and how do we integrate it into our lives. And majority of what I want to focus on is really how to bring spirituality and financials together into one. Because, you know, let's be honest here, money is very important. The Bible says that, you know, what is it? The obsession of money is the root of all evil, or I don't know the exact line. Money is not the root of all evil. Even the Course says it. The Course says that money is also just neutral. How we use it will bring us into either more scarcity or more abundance. So there's really only two paths. And I talk about this, like, life is just this simple. If we can simplify everything down to it's either courage or it's fear, it's either love or it's fear, it's either abundance or it's scarcity. You can use everything. Everything is an idea, and it's a neutral idea. And how you use it and how you apply it into your life will determine if you make one thing more real than the other. Okay, so there's just really only two things. Everything else that comes, you can create all sorts of evidence for, oh, but there's a million different choices. There's really not. All those things are different forms of the same thing. So if we go beyond form, the Course is actually teaching us and training our minds to go beyond form. Beyond form is when we get to, there's really just two teachers. There is the Holy Spirit, and then there's the ego. One of which is an illusion, and the other one is the truth. And the way that we tell the difference between the truth and an illusion is that illusion requires constant defense. Illusion requires constant defense. Truth, which rests in love, requires you to do nothing, and you simply can just experience it. And all things return to love. Like, and what the Course says, you practice, our tool to get back to that is you practice forgiveness. The more you practice forgiveness, the forgiveness is not just in forgiving someone for what they did or what they didn't do, but the forgiveness is in the stories that you've created. It's a clearing. It's a clearing of bringing something from being charged, that you've charged it, to bringing it back to a neutral space. That's forgiveness. Forgiveness is really a space, it's a clearing. All right. And so what energy have you charged the idea of money with? What energy have you charged your relationship with your mother or your sister or your friends? What did you charge those things with? And forgiveness is simply to remove the charges and bringing it back to neutrality. Wow, that was awesome. I've never actually said that before in my life. So where's my AI bot? We created an AI bot that's supposed to take notes for me. It's not in here. Okay, I need my VA to get my AI bot in here to record these things. But that was great. Hopefully I can remember it. Mark, you want to add something that starts something for you?
Yeah. So number one, you're being recorded, so you at least can go back and listen to it. Number two is I love that you brought up the forgiveness and the clearing, and perhaps you can give an example of how to do maybe a proper clearing that you can work with on yourself on a moment by moment basis, right? Like you acknowledge it, you're aware of it. Let me clear myself. Let me clear this moment. Let me clear whatever I'm holding on to. I think that would really support everybody.
Yeah, I mean, so we could go through a long process of clearing, and then we can shorten it. So we did, you know, from this personal development training that we've done, a clearing is where we bring something that, you know, same exact idea of just having something charged to bring it back to a neutral space. So the first thing is you identify, okay, what happened? Like, what are the facts of what happened? And then you identify, step two is, what did I make up about what happened? Okay, so this is a kind of, you can say, okay, what happened was words were exchanged. Okay, words were exchanged. That's the facts of what happened. What I made up about it was, this person said, I'm stupid, or, my mom said I'm irresponsible and whatever. Okay, so you made up about something of words that were exchanged. Now, what are the payoffs? Like, what do you get from that, right? What do you get from the story that you made up? Because you get something. All of us get something, because when we absorb an idea, it's because we get some sort of payoff for it. So the payoff that you get is, I get to be right about this relationship. I get to be a victim. I get sympathy from my girlfriend now that my mom said these words to me, whatever, all of that stuff is your payoff. And then you go into, what is it costing me? Because you're giving up something way bigger than getting to be right and get the sympathy. Okay, what is costing you is your ability to see love in a situation. What is costing you is whatever. So that's your space. Then a lot of times, because sometimes we in our own way, the ego is going to be like, no, what you're getting is better than what it's costing you. Then you talk about what it's costing the people around you, what it's costing to the people that you love, right? So the people that love you and the people that you love, what's it costing them that you hold on to this idea, right? And then bigger than that, what's it costing the world? What's happening in the world is, because of this one action, collectively, if we all took on this action, what is costing is wars are happening, people are dying, hunger is happening, rape is happening, kidnapping is happening, human trafficking is happening. And it's like, oh my God, that all stemmed from my like holding on to anger right now. Like, okay, well, I whatever it is that I'm getting, I don't want it, because the cost is too great. So you always want to figure out what the cost is of you holding on to some sort of stuff that you made up. And then you go into the forgiveness process, the clearing, which is, what is my commitment to the new relationship that I want to have now? Because I don't want all this stuff, what's my commitment to it? And commitment really should be, or could be, like, I want to experience love and peace. Like, I want love and peace in this space. I want to have joy. I want to have fun. Like, am I participating in more conflict in my life, or am I participating in more joy and laughter and love and peace? Like, we can all look at our lives in this moment. Am I feeling more joyful? Am I happier? Am I in the right place? This is why I always say it's super easy. Like, people get confused, like, oh, should I invest here, or should I work with this person or that person? How do you feel? Right? How do you feel? Do you feel like being here, you're more joyful? Do you feel more clarity? Are you like, yes, I like this, it brings you more peace? Or is it like just bringing up more questions and doubts? Like, if you're working with somebody and it brings more questions and doubts, then either you be there and explore a little bit longer before taking any action, so that you can see maybe your mind will change and you'll learn something there, or, which you always will when you sit with somebody long enough. Okay, when you sit with somebody long enough and you open your mind and you open your heart, at some point you're going to learn something. Okay, you're going to learn something from sitting in front of a tree, like with the tree. So all of it at the end of the day is up to you. But right off the bat, you can tell, man, I really like being in this space. I really like this community, and I really feel okay with, I should invest with this person or into this. That's the connection. When we talk about spiritually responsible and bring spirituality and finance together, it's the tapping into your consciousness around why you're doing something. Like, is this, I don't know, environmentally responsible? Is this, do I feel good about being in this investment? Do I feel good about being here in this circle? Do I want to be more involved in this community? Like, all of it it's really up to you how much you want to commit. But when you're half in, half out, you're out. All right, this is what the Course says. There is no half in, half out. The vision of one world costs you the vision of the other. There is no half in, half out. Unless you're fully in, you are out. Until you believe that there is only love, you will always be in conflict. You will find something to be in conflict about until you see that only love exists. It's not, I believe in love. See, most of us, and probably all of us, is half in, half out about love. We're like, yeah, I believe in love. I really, I love this person and I really feel good when somebody loves me, but you're half in, half out. Until you believe that everything is love only, you don't truly believe that it's all love. You believe that there is conditional love, that there's something that somebody will be out to get you if you open your heart and you love unconditionally. There's a book called The Mastery of Love by Don Ruells. I forget his name. But the story goes, a man and a woman comes together and they fall madly in love, and there is no more self. Last week on Sunday, I talked about your true self actualization comes and is only possible through self-transcendence. In the relationship with somebody, when you fall madly in love with somebody, all the stories and all the ideas and all the things that you held about yourself, you are willing to let it go for this love, right? So you're willing to be anything else now. You're open to any idea. And this is why a lot of times men have these like concrete ideas. And you see it in all the movies too. Men have this concrete ideas. They're walking down this line. And what changes them is love. Is when they fall in love with a woman and they're willing to just give all of that up, right? But, so what ends up happening is we try to hold on to this love. We try to hold on to it and we try to make it special. And when we have to make it special, this is when this love starts to get tarnished. So what happened in the book is the man goes, Don Miguel Ruiz. See, I was close. Good job. Thank you, Mark. He went and got the star, got the North Star or whatever, and filled it with all his love and all the world, love in the world and everything that is. And he hands the star to the woman. It's just an expression of love. As soon as it touched her hand, she let it go and it shattered everywhere, because this is no longer love. This is responsibility. This is like, oh, now your sadness depends on me. Your happiness depends on me. See, what he did was he didn't know. He thought he was giving love, but what he was doing was giving specialness. He's like, I want you to feel special. You're special to me now. It's almost like putting the chains on somebody at that point. Like, here you go. All of my love, all of my experience, my experiences in life now depends on you. That's not love. That's not freedom. That's putting chains on somebody. Right. And then now anything they do, there's oh my God, is this going to affect this person or that person? The best thing to do is to show this person they can be exactly who they want to be in that space. And I'm going to love you no matter what. It's a one-way street. It's not the other way. And this is the actual basis of the community that I'm creating, is that all you need is to help other people win. There is nothing more complicated to creating financial freedom and building a great community than the one idea, nothing else is needed, that I'm going to help other people win. All of these things, everything that you learn in your life is a one-way street. It's not a two-way. When you give it, make sure it's one way. You don't need anything in return. If you give and you require something else in return, do not give it. Okay, it's only going to hurt the relationship. Okay, I mean, it's at the end of the day, if you give it all over to the Holy Spirit, it's all going to be a learning lesson anyways, but it's going to delay the relationship. And it might temporarily in time hurt the relationship and hurt you. Now, it's an opportunity again to choose again and to give it over and practice deepening faith, which is what the whole conversation is about anyways, is to recognize that there is a God and a universal intelligence that makes all of this stuff work. We have no idea how the cells are operating on our body, when it chooses to shed, when the skin does this, and when we plant a seed, why does this seed actually grow into a tree? Like, stuff just happens. we need to align our minds to the universal intelligence, God, cosmic intelligence. You could call it whatever you want to call it. They're just words and symbols, but it's about aligning to that. And the way we align to that is faith. We give it over. I don't know why I'm going through what I'm going through. I don't know why I just lost a whole bunch of money here. I don't know why I just got fired. I don't know why she just broke up with me. I don't know. But I can have faith that there's a reason I'm supposed to go somewhere. Like this is a road. We're all going somewhere. These events that are happening as little machines, or whatever you want to call it. I imagine those two little mechanical balls that kind of roll like this. So it's moving. And yeah, in this moment, it looks like she broke up with you. In this moment, it looks like, you lost your job. In this moment, it looks like somebody passed away. But, or your dog passed away, but all of that, it's a practice. Can I deepen my faith in this moment when I feel the most amount of pain, when I'm the most confused, to give it over to a higher intelligence, to God, to the Holy Spirit? Okay? Because they know where it's going. I don't know where it's going. I want to start to remove my own judgment, because that's too burdensome for me. When you're in the space of judgment, it's a lot of responsibility. Like when we have to judge other things that are happening, like what are we doing? All we're doing is now seeing a world that is less safe and less trustworthy. It becomes very burdensome to us. And then what we do is the Course says, we believe that everything operates in the material world, which is, if I give it to you, now I don't have it. If I give you this phone case, you got the phone case now and I don't got it. That's how we try to spiritually and energetically give things away. And it doesn't work like that. Spiritually, energetically, everything is an idea. Ideas grow as it is shared. If I have an idea that money is hard to come by, or you can't trust women that live in Miami or whatever, all you're doing is you're making this idea more real. You gave it away, but it actually increased in both sides. So this is what we actually call projection. Parents project on their kids all the time. All of us are probably projecting on each other all the time, and you're projecting on your families and people all the time. See, spirituality is about bringing awareness to how you operate. Spirituality is about coming to an understanding, an actualization of yourself. And to actualize yourself, it's through transcending yourself in relationship with somebody else. So you guys see this cycle now. That means my awakening depends on my ability to see the light or see God in my brothers and my sisters out there. No matter the action, no matter the words that come from them. Like that's the game right there. And I start to see the sameness. I start to see the similarities, the pain that we both share. Okay, cool. It's the pain that we both share. It's the love that we both share. See, as you see that your brothers and sisters have no other desires, no different desires than yours, you start to recognize truly what your desires really are. And all of us desire peace. And all of us desire to return to the kingdom. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, so this is perfect and always is. What you're speaking into is, my wife and I have been together for 40 years this year, right? And it's always, the relationship has always been growing, and it's always been showing me in so many ways through my wife, my children, that we are who we are and we'll be who we will be. And we get to love and accept them right where they are, because we're always in this process of just trying to understand what triggers us within relationships, within family. And it's just the acceptance of who all these loved ones are, who our business partners are, who they are. Because if you can't accept them just right where they are, then you never accept yourself. And so I'm always finding myself in a space where I get to just be in peace and in pause in every moment, because I know something's going to be said. And I'm going to say, I can choose to be triggered by this, or I can choose to be, oh, this just is. And I get to love this space, this relationship, this person for whatever they're saying and not say anything. Being in silence for me is always so powerful, because I get in that moment, I pause, I listen, I say, okay, this is something that would normally in the past trigger me. I'm just going to let it go, because there's nothing I'm going to say into it, because it's only going to create more. And I just either move on. It's my choice to move on, be patient with that moment, love that person because they're only trying to do their best for me or for the moment. And it's, yeah, so everything you're speaking into is all about keeping my peace. And I love the fact that I've gotten so much better at keeping my peace, because I know people are going to say things, people are going to do things, and I just get to say, it just is. And this is just their way of being, their way of, presenting themselves. And I just get to enjoy that moment, knowing that, wow, look at my growth. Look at what I just stepped through without losing my stuff, and just getting triggered and raising my blood pressure. It's just, there's no worth in it,
Yeah.
So thanks for bringing us all forward.
Yeah. And listen, the whole thing, like it's just a reminder. Everything that we're saying, everything that the course speaks into and stuff that comes up, it's a reminder. It's a reminder for me, in these moments, like stuff comes forth that I've never said before. And the clarity of all of this it makes sense for me as I'm speaking into it as well. And all of us are collectively coming together to remember this. There is nothing that I'm saying that none of us already don't know inside. This is why the course says the truth requires you to do nothing, because you already know. Like when the truth is being said, you could be like, yeah, yep, I know this to be true, right? I know love to be true. I know forgiveness to be true. I know acceptance and surrender to be true. It's not hard to do, but we run all this other stuff in front of it. So it's hard to see. It doesn't mean it's not there. I just can't see it because I've run a whole bunch of other stuff in front of it. So the whole journey, sometimes, like you said, Mark, sometimes in the midst of chaos, silence is all that you can offer in this moment. Most of us want to get the last word in, right? We're like, no, I got to get the last word in. Like when me and my wife sometimes go at it, I'm just I know I sound so stupid, like having to get the last word in. And when she's like, okay, well, I'm going to go into silence, I still feel like I got to get the more last words in. Like it's so silly. And then like later on, we just laugh at it. Sometimes we'll actually burst out laughing in the middle of it because I'm just so ridiculous. She'll start laughing or I'll just start laughing. Like, how long are we going to go on with this for? Right. So again, this is the truth. The truth is that laughter and joy is the path to God, to the truth. Is like when you're laughing and you're joyful and things are clear, like that's natural. That's our natural state. When we get angry, that's not a natural state. That is an inwardly focused, that is let me focus this way about what I'm not getting and what do I want that is better, that is more than what I'm getting right now or what I have right now. See, the course says that all of our anxieties and all of our problems, all of everything that we have that's balled up in this like pain and suffering is that we think that we could be in the state somehow different than the one that we're in right now. And in that, we lose sight of right now and we lose sight of what's important. I was watching a video yesterday and I save a lot of things into my YouTube, and I just decided that, we're creating this channel in our community and it's motivation. So I went back through my inspirational things in my YouTube, and this one video, 100 years, I think if you look it up, 100 years of not wisdom by Dan Hardy, and it talks about how this guy is interviewing this super wise grandpa. And he's like, before our interview, can you just write down all the things that really changed your life? That really supported you in how you became the way you are, and the harmony you've created in your family and the joy in your life. How did you create all that? Can you just write all this stuff down? And then when he showed up for the interview, he was expecting a whole bunch of stuff because the interview was like weeks later or whatever. And the guy pulled out one napkin and it had like a couple things written on it. And one of the things that was written on there was only a few things matter to everything. Only a few things matter to everything. I mean, that is just like the example of simplifying all of it. Only a few things in your life even matters to everything that you do. But we have it backwards. The ego is like, everything matters. Everything matters. And it's not. There's only a few things that truly matter to everything else. And I don't know what that's going to mean for you, or what's going on in all of your minds as I share that. But, hopefully it brings a little more clarity. Brings you a little closer to some clarity in your own life. Because we're all about running and hustling and bustling, and we forget the things that really matter. Like our faith, our wife, our husbands, our kids, and our dogs, and moments that we get to spend with them. Like we forget those. And we always remember it when it's too late. Like, why do we put ourselves in that space? In that type of like setting ourselves up for failure. Like that's the ego. The ego sets you up for failure because it has you. The ego's motto is this: seek, but do not find. Seek, but do not find. That is why we are running around chasing our tails every single day. And we're like, how long am I going to do this for? I'm so confused. I don't know who to trust. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to invest my money. I don't know what to do. Like, this is us running around chasing our tails. And then we look for the shiniest object and we start chasing the shiniest object. And then we're like, I don't know how I fell on my face. I chased the shiny object, it disappeared, and my money disappeared with it. And now I can't trust anybody ever again. Like, it's such craziness. And the course is like, listen, get back to doing the work every day, which is a long-term thing. You look at it all as in, how do I practice forgiveness today? Okay. The event, the shiny object was not what I thought it was. I did not lose my money the way that I thought I lost it. I am not upset for the reason that I think I'm upset. All the things that you think are happening to you, it is not happening the way that you thought it is happening, or even you think it's happening. Everything is an opportunity to choose again. I get to choose the way that I get to look at this again. All right. My parents talking about money, or they're fighting all the time. And because of them, now I can't be in a good relationship. Because of what they said, now I can't make money and I'm always struggling. Because they didn't have money, now I don't have money. Like, forgiveness on all of that. All the stories that you've attached to events in your life, which are not the truth. The truth is that everybody's just trying their best. The truth is that everybody wants to know love. So even the projections of pain is a calling for love. This is why the Course says the only appropriate response to anything in the world is appreciation, gratitude, and love. No matter how horrific and how horrendous something happens, it is an opportunity to call your forgiveness and call forth your love. And if you can call forth that means in this moment, this was a loving situation. It called forth your love. So the only appropriate response to anything, anyone, any situation is with love. And if it's not, then let's be in silence and figure out how we can Give it over to the Holy Spirit. I don't want to be right about it. I don't want to be right that I lost money because of this. I don't want to be right because I can't have this because I got fired. I don't want to be right about I can't be in a loving relationship because my parents set it up this way. Like, I don't want to be right about all that stuff anymore. And then the question now is like, what do you get to practice forgiveness with now? Like today, this moment, we're all victims to something. Like we're a victim to something that happened outside. And then we get to let go of it. Forgiveness. Let's read real quick what forgiveness really is in the back of the book. See if we can find it. What is forgiveness? Okay, in the course, it talks about what is forgiveness. Hey. Forgiveness. Okay, this is forgiveness, not the way we have it in the world. Forgiveness recognizes what you thought your brother did to you has not occurred. It does not pardon sins and make them more real, because the way that we have forgiveness is, hey, you punched me in the face. I forgive you for punching me in the face because I'm a better person and I want to forgive and I want to be in peace. All that does, we added energy to you punching me in the face because that was real. You know what? Let's not use punching because that's physical. Let's just say you said some words to me and made me feel smaller or less than or more insignificant. You said those words to me and it hurt. But you know what? I'm going to forgive you. All that does is make the words that you said to me, those things, still more real. And that's the problem with the way that we forgive in this world is we're not forgiving. We're giving you a grenade saying this is forgiveness. and we're waiting for you to pull the pin and blow us up with it. Like that's the forgiveness that we are offering people in life these days. Okay. So it's not to pardon sins and make them more real. It's to see that there was no sin in the first place. See, this is the true clearing. In that view, are all sins forgiven? What is sin except a false idea of God's Son? See, the ability and the capacity in which you can forgive somebody else will be in how much you can believe that God will forgive you and that you are worthy to be forgiven for anything that you do, anything that you've ever done. Like sometimes we hold ourselves to these things and we can't forgive ourselves. It's not about forgiving yourself because you can't forgive yourself unless you practice the forgiveness outwards. You know, I've done something so bad and I have not been able to forgive it. Well, you know what? Go forgive the person that freaking shot up a school. Go practice forgiveness there. Okay, then your capacity to forgive is now growing bigger. And now you may have a shot at forgiving yourself. So forgiveness merely sees its falsity and therefore lets it go. What then is free to take its place now is the will of God. An unforgiving thought. So this is what happens if you hold on to an unforgiving thought, is one which makes a judgment that will not raise to doubt, although it is not true. So it will not doubt this idea. The mind is closed and will not be released. And we all know it. When we get into an argument, our mind is closed. We are fighting something, like we are a victim to it, and we have to be right. There is no openness to the mind during that time. It's just, I need to just vomit the things that I want to project onto you. The mind is closed and will not be released. The thought protects projection, tightening its chains so that distortions are more veiled and more obscured, less easily accessible to doubt, and further kept from reason. So when we are angry and we are acting out of anger, that anger and that, what it does is it protects that projection itself when you're in this closed-mindedness, this unforgiving thought. And it tightens the chains on it, and the distortion of this attack that you are doing, the insanity of this attack is now more obscure to you, so you can't even doubt it. You just keep going down the rabbit hole of why you're right about projecting. So that is further kept from reason. What can come between a fixed projection and its aim that it has chosen as its wanted goal? Nothing gets in the way of that now. this attack that you have, your mind is so chaotic and so insane protecting this unforgiving thought. And so your attack seems like it's valid and it's justified. An unforgiving thought does many things. In frantic action, it pursues its goal, twisting and overturning what it sees, interfering with its chosen path. So anything that is reasonable, like, hey, man, A Course in Miracles, like, you want to be happy or you want to be right? Nope. Like, blow right through it. Like, forget that. I'm going to be right about this. They get to say this, or they get to say they're sorry, or whatever. I get to make them experience sorrow. They get to regret what they did, like whatever. This insanity thought. So it just plows through everything that's in its path, even if it's a light showing you the way out. Distortion is its purpose and the means by which it will accomplish it as well. It sets about a furious attempt to smash reality without concern for anything that would appear to pose a contradiction to its point of view. So this is what happens. People go down this path, and this is why hurt people hurt more people, because they need more people to know what it's like to be in pain. And it gets to a point where they're like, I can't hold on to this anymore. I'm just being so right that I got to go and do something extreme. Like, my pain is too much for me to hold. I got to do something extreme. See, not enough love and acceptance was given to this person to invite them back to the light. It was probably more like, you're bad, throw you in detention, put you in jail, all this. And this is why more pain leads to more pain, because all we're doing is fighting fear with more fear. All we're doing is adding shame to guilt to fear. And we're just feeding the fuel. We're fueling this anger. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is still and quietly does nothing. It offends no aspect of reality, nor seeks to twist its appearance to the way that it likes. It merely looks and waits and judges not. He who would not forgive must judge, for he must justify his failure to forgive. But he who would forgive himself must learn to welcome truth exactly as is. Do nothing then, and let forgiveness show you what to do. Through him, the Holy Spirit, who is your guide, your savior, and protector, strong in hope and certain in your ultimate success. He has forgiven you already, for such is his function given to him by God. Now must you share his function and forgive whom he has saved, whose sinlessness he sees, and whom he honors as the Son of God. That means your job is to practice, to be like the Holy Spirit, and to offer forgiveness to your brothers, to your sisters, to all the people out there. And such is your function. And when you have recognized your function, you will see your place in this world. You will see your place amongst the community. You will see your place in such a way that you recognize your own purpose and what you can contribute to any space. Because what ends up happening when you don't do that is you go and start to compare yourself with others, and more sabotaging of the self. And then at some point, that will be directed back at that person. And now you're attacking somebody else for being in a place different than you, because you're comparing, and you got to justify your failure to get to that place yourself. And then the attack just goes back and forth. And then we got to just lay the sword down, lay the shield down. Let's just get off the battlefield. We're no longer going to be in comparison. We're no longer going to fight. Let me just focus on forgiveness, right? Because forgiveness is also an idea. And as we share this idea, it grows. That is the law of abundance, is that as we give, we receive. That giving and receiving are not happening as two separate events, but it is actually one. And so when we talk about creating a win-win, there is only win with a capital W. And the way that we do it, and the way that you shorten the formula, is focus only on how other people around you win. If you can do that, you're automatically gonna, it's a shifting of your mind to everybody to, hey, I'm gonna help you win. You're gonna win. And I've started something this morning. Like now I'm asking the people in our group, I'm like, how can I help you win today? Right? Like that's your new, everybody that is seeing this moment. Okay. If you're on live, if you're watching the recording, if you watch to this point, practice. The only practice that you need to do to create abundance in your mind is to go around and ask everybody, how can I help you win today? And even if you don't say the words, in your mind, think it, how can I help you win? Everybody, the homeless man on the street, the person that's serving at the restaurant, how can I help you win? Because if you don't, then you're like, oh, am I tipping them too much? Or am I what's happening? If I give you money, are you going to go buy drugs? No, it's just, how do I help you win to the best of my ability in this moment? That's it. Maybe it's just to say one nice word. Okay, helping you win. Maybe you just needed to hear that. Especially the people that you have in your mind that triggers you. You're like, man, I give up on this relationship. We all got somebody. It's like, yeah, that's it. I'm not even going to talk to this person about investments. I'm not going to talk to them about anything because this is what's going to happen. Who's that person? All right, like let's practice some forgiveness over there. And let's open that conversation. Cool. So I'll open up for any thoughts, any questions at this moment. I just went on a 44-minute tangent. I love it. How can I help you win today? And this is my way. This is my way of just continuing to be consistent every Sunday, every Wednesday. I've been doing this call for 4 years, and not one time has this been an empty room. Even from the first day that I started this. Like never once has this room just been empty. And there's been times where I don't even advertise it at all. I don't even I'm like, oh, I'm too lazy to even send out ACIM at 10 a.m. Here's the link. Like I'm too lazy to even remind people sometimes. But then it's like, okay, how can I actually win? Like, how do I set aside a little bit of time, to actually send all this out? So it just so happens that, when I sit on the throne, it's a good time to do this. Too much info? Yeah. Okay, sorry. So when you see the reminders, you know where I'm at. Okay. Any thoughts, any questions? We are on chapter 12.
I definitely love the reminder of the the win-win, always in that space of looking forward and generating positive energy for mankind and those around us, and just saying prayers for everybody. I love it. So thanks for that gentle reminder.
Yeah, thank you. Shiva Shambho. What's up?
Hey, Alex. I just want to say thank you for the call. You're talking about you've been doing this for 3 years now. So that's awesome, dude. It's the compound effect is going to pay dividends. And I really like that. How can I help you win today? There's a lot of things that come up. Yeah, I'm going to start incorporating that into my life. So what I wanted to tell you was I was reading this book by the same lady who wrote the book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And it's about embracing the power of uncertainty. And she's talking about how maybe is a powerful word. It's like a God word. It's like maybe. And I'm like, when I'm listening to it, I'm like, holy shit. Alex always says, maybe. And it's like, she's like, instead of trying to control the future and fucking stressing sorry for cursing, for just making your ass really tight and trying to up, it has to happen this way. She has to call me, she has to text me, what? There's being I wonder, just like putting yourself in a state of wonder instead. Like, I wonder what's going to happen. Like, because nobody's in control of the future. No, like she was just saying, like, nobody's in control. It's just like, nothing's important. It's not important. Like, maybe they are putting chemicals in your food. Maybe they are. Maybe the Jews are trying to.
Maybe it's good for you. Maybe it's not. I don't know.
So then when people say there's crazy shit to me, I'm just like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. And then in my own mind, when I'm like, oh, well, I hope this relationship works out, like, maybe it's actually a great thing that it didn't work out. Maybe it was a gift. Maybe it's like the best possible thing, and I don't know enough. So why am I getting so stressed out about it? So I just love being on these calls because it's like a reminder that I can carry on for my whole week to like be generous with people and be generous with like my, like, give them the benefit of the doubt no matter what is going on. So
yeah.
And I think there's other stuff I wanted to share with you, because it's like I'm always like in some book, like I was like listening to The Fifth Agreement again and like just like tuning up my mind. And like there's other stuff I wanted to say, but so far the call has been awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course, man. Appreciate it. You know, I've read a lot of books in my lifetime as well. And now, like, really the only book that I read is A Course in Miracles. I just keep reading it over and over again. I'm like, do I really need to be reading these other books? It's kind of like, because the Course is on my mind, everything I read, every movie I watch, it's literally A Course in Miracles. Like this just like forgiveness happens in movies. I'm like, oh, there's A Course in Miracles again. I'm reading books. I'm like, yeah, this is all about just breaking free from your limiting beliefs. There's A Course in Miracles again. I mean, everything is literally, everyone is saying the same thing, pointing, you know, it's just different ways of coming to the same place, you know, so it's not that complicated. And remember, the ego's motto is seek but do not find. So just notice yourself if you're in this like seeking. You know, a lot of people that are in this like spiritual search, they're just seeking all over the place. Like, oh my God, I read this book. Oh my God, I did this thing. And they think that like by just experiencing a moment of every single teaching, now you know everything. It's not. You just pursue one, you will know better of everything if you just pursue one down its path all the way, you know. And yeah, so I don't know, I don't even know why I just said that, but hopefully
I think that they're all related. They're all just saying the same thing. It's just like finding the language that appeals to me in that moment. It's like sometimes when I'm reading the Course, it's too like Bible-y and I can't like comprehend it, but then when you like explain it because you've been studying it so long, I'm like, oh, that's what they actually mean. Like it's not about like the terminology. It's like going beyond the terminology. What is the spirit of it? And it's all related. Like, so I was listening to Earl Nightingale's like talks, and he's like, he has this thing where he's like, I will make this person happy that they talked to me today. It's kind of like related to your how can I help you win? It's like walking up to a person and saying, well, I don't know what's going to happen in this interaction, but my intent is that they're going to be happy that they spoke to me. I'm going to make this moment as good as possible for them. And then it's just an intention. It might work. It might not work.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, also, and I've said this before, like, be careful of the judgment of words. You know, like there are intentions behind words. We can let go. We can begin by practicing our judgment of the words itself, because there are like, what's the word behind the word? Because a lot of people are trying to explain the moon, like trying to describe the moon using words, but everything is just kind of like different words, right? But it's the same thing. So even the Course, I had to read beyond the words at some point to open my mind up, because I also grew up like half my family was Catholic, the other half was Buddhist, and I'm like, oh my God, what's happening? I like the Buddhism side because there's an invitation for me in. The other, you know, the Catholic side is always like, no, you got to do this. No, you got to come to Bible study. No, like everything is like so set in stone. I'm like, nah, I don't like that, right? And it's not that this is what the teaching is. It's just, it just so happens it was projected onto them that way, right? And so as you and when I was able to finally read the Course, which was Jesus, Holy Spirit, God, I'm like, whoa, everything opened up differently. Because for a long time I was a big like rebel. Like everything was chaos, everything was fights, everything was arguments for me. I was just angry because like, and I blamed it all on religious institutions and governments. Like that was my big battle. And then when I finally came to the acceptance, like, oh, well, maybe it's just my own perception. Right. So once I came that, then all of that, I calmed all of that stuff down. And then I stopped drinking and I stopped fighting and I stopped everything. And everything it just all changed. And it took one shift of some words. Like that's how profound the words change of Holy Spirit, God, Jesus in my life. Like changing that perception changed my entire worldview.
Jim Gaffigan has this funny joke. He's like, I like to make people feel comfortable. That's why I like to talk to people about Jesus.
Go ahead, Natalia.
Hi, I just wanted to mention thank you, Shiva, for sharing when you mentioned the whole like maybe and how like Alex uses it a lot. What first came to mind was like, wow, this like removed this sense of responsibility. Like we're just like, oh, maybe. And like that's what came up for me. And then the other thing that it does for me is that if I'm in the maybe, I don't know, it removes myself from the being right. Like, oh, if you're saying A, I'm like, no, but it's B. It's like I'm being right about it being B and making the other person wrong. But if I'm just like, oh, maybe it is, maybe not, I don't know. Like it just like removes that responsibility. And also like I stop wanting to be right about my idea. So thanks for like it just landed today.
I mean, yeah, huge. And yeah, thank you, Shiva. And thank you for that share too, Natalia. Lyra.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. I got a little nervous this morning. I couldn't find the link and I'm like, I'm ready, but where's the link? So anyways, thank you for this morning again. I always look forward to Wednesday and Sunday, even though it's very early on my end, but it's all good. I want to kind of add into the maybe. So since I've been listening to you for I think this is my 4th week now that I've been joining your calls, not just this one, your underwriting, everything. Every time I hear you say, maybe someone would say something and then you go, maybe, and I go, oh, that's good. It just kind of puts this ease on myself when you say maybe, and I go, there you go. He doesn't judge. He's not judging. He's just taking or listening to whatever it is that they're saying, right? So I thought that was good as well. Thank you, Shiva, for bringing that up. And then also, so 2 things that I'm going to incorporate, going forward is how can I help you win, right? And then the maybe. I love that. I love that now, the maybe, because there's really no judgment. Maybe. Wait, I don't know. Yeah. Right? And then just one more thing. So I have been reading the Course of Miracle and I'm still having a hard time, with it. It's pretty, it's hard to comprehend. So I would always pull out my Mickey Singer book, right? And I'm so whatever it is, just like you said, there are a lot of books out there. They're all saying the same thing. It's just the things that it will click into your mind, right? So, I'm kind of trying to help myself. Okay, how do I understand what's in the Course of Miracle and then how others interpret it, right? So Michael Singer's book, Living Untethered and Untethered Soul, I'm kind of going back to that because he does kind of say the same thing, but it in a much simpler words that, kind of helps me, comprehend. So that's it. Thank you for this day, for this time, your time.
Yeah, our time. and it's cool because Michael Singer's books are amazing. Actually, I have a friend that's at Michael Singer's property, like they're doing yoga and stuff like that right now in like Gainesville or wherever.
Gainesville.
Yeah. So like Michael Singer's book, The Surrender Experiment.
Yes.
He wrote that book facing life in prison.
Yeah.
Like it took life in prison to show up in his face to finally learn that he needs to surrender. You know, to like give it over. Like what am I fighting for? You know, like all this voice in my head. So yeah, really, really great, great reminders this morning. We're definitely making Hawk, can you remind me to make the Legends t-shirt that has how can I help you win on the how can I help you win today on the back? Hawk and Aman. Remind and Jessica, remind me, Desiree, remind me to make that on our shirt. We have a bunch of shirts that we're gonna make, so you know, let's remember it.
Will do.
Yeah. and maybe I'll have I'll make an ACIM shirt that says maybe. That will be great. Maybe. Oh man.
I love the maybe one. I love the maybe one.
We'll just have a shirt in the front, we'll just say maybe. Maybe. Okay, so I don't know how much more time I got because everybody is packing around me. Apparently, we're flying somewhere very soon. And you know, I probably will need to do something at some point and get up and put my stuff away. But yeah, just I think this morning was, you know, there's so much nice clarity and download that came, and Shiva's contribution and Natalia's and Lyra's, and you know, all of you guys being here. Like if I even see your name and your video, like it just energizes the space. So yeah. And everybody on Instagram too, that like you guys popping in, saying hi. You know, I get messages from people like, oh my God, I attended the Instagram live for like 20 minutes and that was like life changing. I'm like, cool, attend the whole thing. Yeah, so any other thoughts, any other questions? I know like these things go on for a while, but what else?
Yeah, I have just the final thing because I was reading the Four Agreements too, and he says to be impeccable with your word. And it's like, and he says, don't assume. He's like, if you do these two things, then your life will be okay. And it's like, why do we assume? Why are we impeccable with our word? It's because by assuming or making up a story or an explanation, we feel safe, even if it's wrong. It's like it feels safe. And in the Fifth Agreement, it's like be skeptical of that. Like listen, learn to listen, but be skeptical, even of the things that you think for yourself. It's always a maybe. Like, so that's the final thing.
Yeah. And the Course says that too. The Course says that there's not one thought that you have that is wholly true. And not like HOLY holy, but like whole, like wholeness true. There's not one thought that you have that is that. So yeah, maybe yourself all day as well. Like when you have set in stone things like I should do this. Maybe. Yeah, and yeah, it's good catch, Lyra, too, on a lot of my calls. I'm like naturally just maybe to everything, you know. It's yeah, I guess it's now just second nature to me.
Yeah, like I should have power in my house right now. Maybe. But I don't.
That's pretty fun.
Hey Alex, sorry to not have video on. I had concurrent meetings. I'm not sure how to say this, but I'm not sure if I'm going through a bit of depression or I mean, you've seen me kind of, and I'm yeah. Sorry guys. Ebbs and flows this week. I mean, Monday I was energetic. Yesterday, not so much. I mean, the best part of my week is when I engage with you guys. So I try to, just be present as much as possible. But my W-2 is really killing my soul. And I've been fighting with them for a while. And I'm just not sure what to do going forward, aside from looking for another job. And I'm like, I don't know, flustered, fluttering. I just don't, sometimes I just kind of hit this brick wall every day, and I'm just trying to figure out a way to overcome it and become a better person, continue to be a better person. So apologies for not, I don't want to make it seem like I'm not engaged, but this is what I'm going through. I just literally I just got off a meeting, and it's draining. It really is.
Yeah. So again, there's nothing to be sorry about. Now, the thing is, all of our depression, all of our anxiety comes from, I'd rather be somewhere else or doing something else than what I'm doing right now. Where I am and what I'm doing is not good enough. I'm not happy enough, all of that. The way out is to come to an acceptance that you are perfectly where you are right now. The job that you have is perfect. Everything is perfect. See, there's two thoughts that you can follow. That is it. One is gratitude and appreciation for it. The other one is annoyance about it and all the other stuff. Whichever one you give more energy to, this is that story of the two wolves, right? Whichever one you feed will grow and get stronger. So if you want to just get out of this depression mode, get those words out of your vocabulary of, the W-2 is just getting in the way. Because the more you say it, the more it becomes real. Now, somebody in another place that can't live the life that you live will probably kill to have this job that you have, right? So the more, whichever one you focus is the one that is going to help you. All right. There is always somebody else in a worse position, and you're in a place that and you're in the community and what we're doing that even giving partial some time to this thing, all it's going to do is at some point, it's going to replace your W-2 income, right? So with certainty that this is the path, this multifamily path, this community that you're helping create, all of that, that's going to lead you there. That's not only going to lead you there, it's going to lead a whole bunch of people there, right? This is how do I help you win? And in a way, like, all right, how do I really help you win today? And you've been doing really great showing up for people, but you have to make sure you're whole. Otherwise, the way that you come about in helping people will be a projection of your annoyance of your W-2 job. All right. So first, let's come to an acceptance. This is my W-2 job. Okay. It doesn't actually dictate my experience of life. My perception of my W-2 job is what dictates it. Okay. So if that's the case, my job does not need to change. My perception about my job needs to change. It's not that I need another job, because another W-2 job will just be more of the same or less of the same exact thing that you feel annoyed by. Because that's the nature of a W-2 job. You're freaking doing something that is helping somebody else's business and somebody else's company and somebody else's mission, not yours. But if you know that this is my stepping stone, then cool, I can appreciate my stepping stone, right? I know that I got a plan. Once we're in that $100 million deal together, I can say goodbye to this W-2 job in 2 seconds, right? And then I'd be like, great, look at this. This is a great stepping stone. It helped me get to here because I was able to afford going, investing in the deal with Alex. I'm good with, being in different masterminds and clubs. It gave you the ability to do that. So focus on the appreciation, the gratitude of it, because there are tons of people out there that are struggling that can't even come up with the funds to join one of these mentorships. And every successful person across the board, if you watch every influencer on there, they all started with, I joined a mentorship. I bought a ticket to a conference. Something that put them into place with mentors. Because the goal is to be around people that think what you're doing that you think is hard is easy. being around those people is going to elevate you. Being in our community, like, you know, us coming together in a community makes our goals bigger. I have bigger goals for myself. Every single person in the Legends group now has bigger goals. I mean, I'm seeing the goals. I'm like, holy shit, those are some freaking big goals. Everybody's got massive goals now being inside a community, you know, by being really feeling like I'm in a good place. I'm in a place where, you know, it's safe. And that's the most important thing. And everybody's out there, you know, everybody's kind of on an island until you're like, oh, here's a community, right? Like, get into a community, belong to a community, you know, joining these calls are part of that. Now, how you show up in there, that will always be up to you. You know, are you going to be somebody that is going to be in service in this place? Will people find value of what you're going to say and me showing up, my smiles, my nods? Like, are people watching? Everybody is watching. The mic is always on. The light's always on. All right. Go ahead, Jessica.
Hey, Hawk. Hey, I guess that's your call sign now, man. I just wanted to let you know, listen, I feel you, brother, man, because ever since I've been in these spaces and gotten into this multifamily, hey, I want to fire myself. I want to find myself. I mean, I wish I could walk away from my own business, all right, just so I could do this multifamily, because I'm so excited. I want to be able to give more energy and more effort into this. But I realize that it's a process. It's a process, and my business is actually what's going to get me to where I want to go to as far as the multifamily and being able to have the funds to be able to invest. So it's a means to an end, you know, because I know now my vision is clear. I know where I'm going and what I want to be successful at, and whatever I got to do. You know, remember, what the fuck, do whatever it takes, you know, just know that this is not it. This is just a stepping stone to that big vision that we all have. And you have a tremendous team on you, you know, behind you, man, a tremendous team, starting with Alex and going all the way down. So don't even sweat it. Where you are right now is not where you're going to be. So just enjoy the ride, man, because when you're up there, you're going to say, man, I remember when I was in that W2, man, just I hated it so much. But thanks to that, you gritted it out, and now you're going to be a multi-mega millionaire in a couple of years. I love you, man.
Love you too, Jess. Thanks so much. And Alex, thanks so much for the advice. I mean, this really, truly makes my day every day. I mean, you know, engaging with you guys, really.
Yeah. Amazing. Cool. Jessica, what did you said something just now that is t-shirt worthy, and I can't remember what you said. My memory is literally like a goldfish memory. So
if yours is like that, you can imagine what mine is like. It's like freaking Nemo, right? No, Dora. That was it, Dora from Nemo. I don't know what I said, man.
Anyways, all right. So I'm just, I'm trying to capture some cool like quotes that we can put on t-shirts. Yeah. Other thoughts, other questions. And it really is just about, being able to help each other through these hard times. And every person that we know we genuinely help makes us, recognize our function just a little bit more and our purpose. And the Course says it's very simple. Your function is simply to be the light of the world. Now, to be the light of the world, you have to see the light in every single person, in all their actions. Yeah. And your purpose is to extend love. So your function is to be the light of the world. Your purpose is to extend love. It's simple until you have to deal with your family or deal with your W-2 job. Right? So, yeah. And just be happy, try to accept where you are and focus on the good things. All right, you got to interrupt. The mind easily drifts to the negative stuff. Interrupt those. Constantly interrupt it.
Hey, Alex, I know that the book, The Untethered Soul, was like just a huge changing point for me, that it really shows you just how much we are so connected to the mind and the space and the voices that in our heads. And it really showed me how to step back and away from that and then become the observer of the mind, and just how chaotic it really tries to lure you in. And sometimes it's really clever and tricky. So truly that was one of the huge benefits for me, was just stepping back, you know, and just be the observer, because there's the observer, there's the observer of the observer, and how that really supported me through some really heavy crisis things that showed up in my life in the last few years. And now it's just a daily practice of just saying, oh, okay, I understand, you know, asking the mind, okay, what do you really need in this moment? What is it that you're striving for, that you need my attention to take me away from my peace, or to, you know, set me in a direction that doesn't serve me? So, you know, everything that you speak into is all about, you know, understanding and loving the mind, and having the mind and the heart become best friends, so that it's not a power struggle between the two. So thanks for that, and hopefully that reminder of just observing the mind, stepping back, and just listening with compassion, and then just finding out what the need might be of the mind, to settle it down and just get it to stillness and quiet. So thanks.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Okay. There you go. It's another W2 meeting. Hey, love it. Say thank you to it. Thank you, W2 meeting. So yeah, I think I should probably begin to get ready to pack. But I will leave us with a final lesson of the day. Also, I'm still on track. Lesson 11 today. And, you know, 365 lessons, one a day for 365 days. I'm still on track. Okay. Let's actually do this. So if you guys all want to just close your eyes for a minute, you can do it with your eyes closed. That's probably works the best. I'll go through a quick meditative process from what Mark just shared. You know, if you're driving, don't close your eyes, but you know, just think about this. So bring to your mind's eye a problem or something that's just like in the way of your peace right now. It could be a person, it could be a scenario, it could be, you know, your conflicts. Just bring that up to your mind right now. And now imagine that you are the only person in a movie theater. And you're sitting in the front row and you're just watching. Whatever you brought to your mind, just put it on the screen. You're watching that play out. And you're sitting there like, oh my God, this is so real and it's so big, it's huge. Now I want you to imagine 4 rows back. You're sitting there, it's another person, you're having popcorn and you're having your Coke Icy and you're just watching the person only. You're just watching the person observing the screen. And then you go further out a little bit, maybe 10 rows back. Somebody else is just watching this person eating popcorn and drinking the Coke Icy, watching the person, watching the screen of the big problem. And then another observer walks in through the door. And you don't really know where to sit, but you're watching the person that's watching the person eating the ice cream, having the Slurpee, watching the person super into the screen. The big problem that's playing. And then further out, you're not even at the door yet. You're just watching that person standing at the door, watching the person that's watching the person eating the ice cream, having the Slurpee, and watching that person watching the big screen. And just allow your mind to go further and further away from the actual problem. You're just another witnesser witnessing another witnesser witnessing another. In your mind, just recognize that the problem was once so big. Now you don't even know what the problem is because you're so far from it. It's not even real anymore. And from this space, we recognize that we're just witnessing that these problems that we seem to be having in life, these conflicts that we seem to be having are not really happening. I have a perception of it. And when I zoom out, the problem becomes smaller. And while you're still in this space, I'm going to read lesson 257. Let me remember what my purpose is. If I forget my goal, I can be but confused, unsure of what I am, and thus conflicted in my actions. No one can serve contradicting goals and serve them well, nor can he function without deep distress and great depression. Let us therefore be determined to remember what we want today, that we may unify our thoughts and actions meaningfully and achieve only what God would have us do this day. Father, forgiveness is your chosen means of our salvation. Let us not forget today that we can have no will but yours, and thus our purpose must be yours as well, if we were to reach peace, the peace that you will for us. Let me remember what my purpose is. Amen. Aho.
Amen.
Oh,
The spiritual path that we're on is about getting clear on what that is and aligning all of our investments, our actions, our W-2 jobs, our relationships, aligning all of it to be on the same path. All right. So I hope that served you today. It definitely served me. Thank you guys for being here with me today on Wednesday. And I will see you guys on Sunday.
thank you, brother.
Thank you, Alex.
Blessings,
Thank you,
everybody.
Thank
everyone.
you, Alex.
Alex.
Thank you.